now available in paperback. Those who refuse the gift of eternal life are condemned to wander in the darkness of eternal night. Get your copy of Eternal Night at online booksellers today. Out here are wondering why they're having a hard time finding a woman to get married to. And the reason why so many men are having a hard time finding a woman to get married to is because many women would rather be a ward of the state rather than be a wife in a marriage. Now, what is a ward of the state? A ward of the state is an individual who is not capable of caring for themselves or taking responsibility for themselves. And examples of a ward of the state include your people who in some cases have physical disabilities, people who have mental disabilities, people who are under the age of 18, such as minors, or people who have been convicted of a crime, and these individuals have forfeited their rights and freedoms because they are violated the laws of the state, and now the state is taking custody over those individuals in order to protect the overall society from them. Now, how did your Western woman become a ward of the state? Well, your Western woman became a ward of the state back in the 1960s and 1970s when she decided to go out here and side with the white feminist movement. And when women decided to side with the white feminist movement, they decided they wanted to be strong and independent and did not need a man. So you had women who either wanted to go out here and divorce their husbands, go out here and leave their boyfriends, go out here and leave their families, and what they wanted to do was go to be so-called independent. Unfortunately, when we have an economic system such as ours, there is somebody you're going to depend on, and that individual is Uncle Sam. And what happened to many of these women is they wound up becoming these wards of the state because they were no longer looking to depend on a man, as stated in the Bible, where whenever a man and woman marry, the man and woman cleave to each other. And what happened with the woman, instead of wanting to cleave to her husband and submit to his authority, she decided to leave her husband and then go to the state and cleave to the state. And that's how your woman became a ward of the state. Now, the state sees the woman as incapable of caring for herself. So this is why the state goes out here and gives the woman these welfare benefits such as your TANF, your Section 8, your Medicare, your Medicaid, and they give her children these benefits because this woman is incapable of caring for herself. Now, some of these women will go out here and think that they have jobs, that they are independent. However, they are still wards of the state because thanks to policies such as affirmative action, these women are allowed to get jobs, and this work that they're doing is very similar to the work that your inmates do inside of the prison system. They are wards of the state because the state is financing their work through these corporations, and they are doing this labor the same way an inmate does the labor. But these women, they thought they were getting more rights, but they were actually forfeiting all of the rights they would have received inside of a marriage. Because inside of a marriage, a woman has far more power than she thinks or she has been told by the feminists. Your woman had tremendous power inside of the marriage as a wife. Because as the wife, while she submitted to the authority of her husband under God's natural order, your woman was given lots of power because she was the head, as the manager of the home, because the man is the head of the home, and she was given responsibility over the home and over the children. So she had lots of power inside of the home, such as managing the household finances, managing the diet of the family, managing the day-to-day operations of the home, managing what went into and out of her home, because that's a major power thing in the home. Because whenever a mother is in charge of her home, she is making sure that the home is made stable. And when she is out of the home, what happens is Madison Avenue in Hollywood can get access to the children and program the children with dysfunction. But when the mother is in the home, she can make sure that her kids are not imbibing dysfunctional media. But the woman wanted that power, not understanding that when you become a ward of the state takes control of your home and they take control of your life, because you have submitted to the authority of the state. And your woman doesn't understand what the state wanted to do, because they wanted to get security as related to their economic situation. They wanted a guarantee that their economic needs would be met. And this is why your Western woman wanted to walk away from her husband and walk to the security of the state. And she wanted to get that guarantee because she knew that the government had endless resources, and this is why they wanted to monkey branch from the husband, whose employment oftentimes is unstable, especially in black households because of racism. And many of the white males, their employment was unstable due to the economic cycle. But the government's economic security is always guaranteed. So these women wanted to become these wards of the state. And now that they are wards of the state, they are guaranteed economic security, because the government will either ensure they will have the economic security either through the welfare system of programs such as your TANF, your food stamps, your Section 8, and your WIC and other programs, or she will have economic security through jobs she secures through affirmative action, diversity quotas. So your woman became a ward of the state, and as that ward of the state, she wound up becoming somebody placed in a second class. And she'll sit there and think that she's empowered, but she's not empowered at all. Again, she is a second-class citizen, and she's a second-class citizen because a ward of the state is incapable of caring for themselves, incapable of taking responsibility for themselves, and incapable of meeting their own needs without the support of someone else. But you can't tell the Western woman this, because the Western woman, who has imbibed the false construct of feminism, believes she's doing it all herself, but the only thing she did by herself was submit to the authority of the state and submit to the authorities that allow her to be in a position where she thinks she's independent, but she's actually codependent. And in that codependent situation, she is in a relationship with a government and not a relationship with a man. And your woman did not want to have a relationship with a man because she wanted to get security. Unfortunately, there were numerous trade-offs for that security, and those trade-offs included losing the protection of the man. And your woman will sit there and think, oh, I've got this economic security from this job that I got with this college degree from the government, or I've got this welfare program that takes care of me in the Section 8. However, this does not meet the needs that a man meets, because a man, when he is in a relationship with a woman and that woman submits to his authority, that woman is given the protection of that man. But that man cannot protect that woman, because in that ward of the state situation, the state has control over the woman, and the state has power over the woman. This is why these women can call the police on a man and have that man arrested, because as a ward of the state is looking to protect the woman from this man, and the state is looking to protect its interests. And these women, that's what they're not really thinking about critically as related to their ward of the state situation. They don't understand that they are not getting any sort of protection from that man, nor are they given their emotional needs by the state, because the state does not meet a woman's emotional needs. A man meets a woman's emotional needs, because when that man and woman come together and cleave together, that man meets that woman's emotional needs, and that man provides for that woman's emotional security. Because the main reason why so many women who have these high-powered jobs or are a part of the welfare state are so insecure is because they cannot get a husband who will meet their emotional needs. And these emotional needs were wired in the woman to be met by the man, because the Most High Living God made the woman to serve the man and made the woman to support the man. And the man provides for those emotional needs of that woman, because they form an attachment to each other once they get married, and they form a sexual bond, and they pair bond together. Because when they bond together, the woman winds up taking on that DNA and that spirit of that man, and they bond together. And these are things that your woman cannot get from the state, but wants to try to get from these males she was told by the feminist movement would be disposable. But that's not how God wired and created the woman. And when she goes out here thinking she can just have casual sexual relations with different men, she does not get those emotional needs met. And this leaves a hole in her soul from all of those numerous sexual encounters with men and not her husband. And this is what leads to her not getting her emotional security that she would have in a marriage. So your woman does not get her emotional needs met in this whole ward of the state situation, nor does she get her spiritual needs met, because when a woman becomes a wife, her spiritual needs are met by that man, and those spiritual needs are met because that man and woman come together and pair bond together. And once they pair bond together, those two become one. And that's not something a woman can get inside of the state-sponsored standard for relationships, because the state-sponsored standard does not want to support marriage. No, the state-sponsored model wants to support single motherhood, because single motherhood means that the state can get more individuals to be a part of the state. So the ward, it doesn't understand that it's being used to further perpetuate the state's needs, and the ward is not competent enough to understand that this is what the state wants to do, because the state is about sustaining itself, and the state is about sustaining its ability to generate resources off of the woman who is a part of the state, or a man who is a part of the criminal justice system. So when they see a ward of the state, this is somebody they believe, again, is not competent enough to care for themselves, not competent enough to meet their own needs, and not capable enough to take responsibility for themselves. But your strong, independent woman, she will sit there and swear up and down she is independent. However, she has become codependent on the state, and the state is the one who is providing for her economic security, but there's a hole in her soul because she is not getting her emotional needs met. And she will try to medicate that hole in her soul with alcohol, with drugs, and by going to places to get antidepressants like the Zoloft and many other anti-anxiety drugs. And these are, again, related to that hole in her soul. And she finds herself not spiritually satisfied because she is not meeting her role as the helpmeet and support that God created her to be. So your woman, she wanted to be the ward of the state 50 years ago. She thought she was empowering herself, but she didn't see how much power she lost by going to become this ward of the state. And this ward of the state, she thinks, some of them think that they have power under the state because they can call the police on a man, and they can take a man to family court, and they can go out here and have a high-powered job, but they sacrifice all of the power they have under God's natural order, because at the end of the day, the state is the one with the power over the woman, and the state is the one controlling the woman and preventing the woman from actualizing her potential as a wife and a mother. So a lot of these men out here, they're wondering why they can't find a woman to become their wife, and that's because most of your women would rather become wards of the state and have the state take care of them, and they would rather be secure in the state. And many of those same women are wondering why they have no protection when incidents happen like these store owners beating them up or these business owners abusing them. The reason why you have no protection is because when you submit to the state is about protecting its interests, and its interests are not in making the woman safe. No, it is about making the state safe and secure, and the woman inside of the state is nothing more than a resource for the state. So they don't see the woman as having a value the same way a man saw a woman as having a value to him as his wife, because as his wife, she was considered to be a equal partner in the relationship. Yes, her role was different than the man's, but they all had equal value to the Most High Living God. But the state does not see a woman as somebody they value. No, they see a woman as a resource they can use to be able to further perpetuate the interest of the state. And once that woman has outlived her usefulness, then what they do is discard the woman and leave her to the tender mercies of the society that she wanted to be a part of as a strong, independent woman, but is actually a codependent individual who is nothing more than a piece of state property. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my Men's Issues books, you can find them on Amazon.com or Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and Kindle this fall, E-Steam Blast from the Past. Hell's aspiring angel takes on her demonic doppelganger in this time-traveling, action-packed E-Steam series adventure. Pre-order your copy of E-Steam Blast from the Past